The dark.
I was a young boy.
I
My
was a
father.
young girl.
My father took me to the city to see a marching
Marching
band.
band.
Okay, hello. Uh, we're doing another late night stream, and
Hello, everybody.
here with me is Emily. Yeah, so you heard her already. Basically, what we're
Hello.
going to be, basically, what we're
I don't
going
know
to
what that
do.
even means.
What?
Before anybody, I don't even know what that means. Also, before anybody accuses me of anything, I'm Latina. Suck it. So,
All right. Uh, basically, what we're going to do.
I realized what I said could be interpreted bad if I wasn't Latina. Like, you can misconstrue that as weird. But
Hmm.
you know what else you can
That's why
misconstrue as
I was
weird?
being silent.
You know what else you can misconstrue as weird if you're stupid and wrong?
What?
You can misconstrue bullshit.
Pulls out phone.
Pulls out iPhone 13, walks away, blasts Limp Bizkit.
Blast Limp Biscuit. Oh God. I didn't even know this was that. How did they even get the money to to how how did they even get the money to loan to Limp Biscuit to put that in?
Well, here's the thing. I don't actually think it is Limp Bizkit. I think it's just a meme. Like people are saying it's Limp Bizkit. I don't think we actually know who it is. That's the thing.
It would be hilarious if it is.
Oh yes, it would be really funny. But I genuinely don't know if we know who it is. If you ask me, I think it sounds like the band Try a Link.
I've forgotten about them.
What are you telling me you forgot about such hot lyrics as "Release me from a world unkind, a world where the blind is leaving me blind. It's so
Yep,
unfair that I can't feel free, that I have to
that's
be
the
what
one
you
I
want me to
mostly
be."
remember. Yes,
Joseph
that's the
Pass,
one.
I'm the back.
I cried so hard.
Linkin Park, you fake fan. That's a different band.
I know I'm just tying it in to a different metal band. To a different band. I know. I cried so hard.
And got so
The
far, but
bar.
in the
The
end,
end.
it didn't even matter. I
Ladder.
tried to fall to lose it all.
Uh. Oh my god. Yeah, the
Oh my god.
2000s were
They
amazing.
were a
Okay,
wonderful time for
guys.
music, okay?
Okay, guys. The 2000s were amazing. Okay? Anyone who says they're wrong, they are wrong.
Okay, hold
We
on a
were
second.
we
Hold
were
on.
both born in the
I wanna test something about the stream.
Sure.
That's weird. A minute ago, I could hear myself just fine. Now I'm like uber quiet. I don't know what the deal is.
Is it because that oh, give me a minute. It might be because that let me see here.
Susan is trying to silence me. Trying to silence minority voices, are you? Susan!
Su 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 Susuno.
Susano? Like the Blaze Blue character? Is
Yes.
is Susan Susano?
Is Susan Susanoo that hot OP character from Blaze Blue? The next thing you're probably gonna say is, "What are you talking about? He's a skill-based character."
Susanoo actually is a skill-based character, by the way.
Oh, that's not even a joke? Like how you
No,
did for Darkseid and
no, Susanoo actually is a skill-based character. Also, I still can't hear me for some reason. I don't know what the deal is.
is your phone like
I don't know. Like, it's really weird. A minute ago, I was like perfectly fine. I could hear myself, but then it just
one
randomly
when
went
my
quiet. I don't
when
know what the deal
I
was.
still have some battery in my phone? Let me listen.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep talking because I think you're looking stupid on your phone. So I'm gonna just keep
Oh
talking
my
and say
God!
words
Yeah,
and
you're right. Holy
silence.
shit!
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know what the deal is.
I think. Hold on. Let me do this. Ready? Let me do this.
Now, here's the real question: is Susan purple guy?
Oh my God. No.
Hey, the new Five Nights at Freddy's actually looks good. The um security breach, like that one actually looks fun and interesting. And like, don't get me wrong, Five Nights at Freddy's at its base level can actually be like kind of interesting. It's just its fan base and um certain things about it. Its
That's
fandom.
very, very
Um,
weird.
get
Okay, let me
everything.
just. All right, let me just do this. I think I have to do one last thing. Well,
One
maybe I can
last
get.
boss fight.
All right.
One last boss fight. Oh wait, so I should be fixed now. Like I'll be understandable or that stuff.
I don't know. Let's see.
Hmm. It sounds like I'm a little louder, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Let's give it a minute. Let's give it a minute. Hmm.
All right, how about
Okay,
now?
yeah, yeah, I'm fine now. I'm fine now. We're good. We're good. I
Yeah, that's
think.
because I had to turn the OBS volume a little higher.
Okay, cool.
It's all, and
Yeah,
also I enabled a Discord setting that it minimizes a little bit of the volume when a person is talking. So on my desktop, the sound will be a little minimal because you're actually talking or whatnot. So
I understand. But just to be safe, check your like what it sounds like for you. If it sounds good to you.
yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Coolio. All right, so I'll just start talking about whatever, so you get a good bit of sound to study. So what am I going to talk about? Blood Rain Betrayal, the third entry in the Blood Rain game series. Although I do believe it's actually set in between one and two. Regardless, I'm actually gonna give it a shot with the remaster. I didn't like the original. It was always kind of a not great thing that was held the Blood Rain name. Kind of like the movies. But I'm gonna give the remaster a
All
shot because I've
right.
heard the remaster actually did fix a lot of issues. So yay!
Alrighty, I think we're all golden now.
Um,
Audio's
so
audio's great. There are no more issues. Okay. Alrighty. We are golden now. And plus it won't be a problem now to muffle my microphone when a certain word needs to be said. So, that's perfectly fine too.
don't you mean two words?
What?
Don't you mean two words?
Yep. Yeah, you know the thing. All right.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Now
Now
which
that we
now what Jane the Killer is there that
It's
we can
Jane
read
Arkansas
or
is the one we want.
Oh shit.
Yep, we went the one with Jane, Arkansas.
Oh yeah, that's right. They changed. There were several variations. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yarp.
I still need to get that fixed because I don't want to search on Yahoo. What the hell? Does anybody ever still use Yahoo?
No, I'm actually not even sure if you still can use Yahoo. 'Cause I heard it got shut
That's
down.
that's me. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Apparently, it's still here. Oh yeah, that's right. Jane the Killer, the real. Wait a minute.
The real story.
The real story. That was it. That was the shit. That's the
Yeah, that.
shit.
Yes, that should be the one. And one should be.
My real name is Jane Arkansas, aka Jane the Killer, and this is how I met Jeff. The reason I look the way I do and why I want to kill him. All right. Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that sounds very, very reasonable. All right. Let me do one last thing, and that is to put on music to give this some life. I should put some Silent Hill music again, because why not? All right, let's check the. All right, I think we should be good. Speak again.
Okay, hello.
All right,
I'm speaking into the microphone about whatever and such.
I had to turn the OBS.
I can hear myself and
That's my I'm sorry.
I sound very like myself, which is ew. I don't like the way I sound. I sound better than I used to, though, if you watch some of Corey's older videos when I started my transition in my voice training. I sounded a whole lot worse, and I sound a good bit better now. So, yay for me.
All right,
Yeah,
then I
let's do
have
this.
to
All right,
turn
today
this
in the
up.
state. All
Turn
right,
this up just a bit.
how Jane the State met Jeff the Emo. Let's go.
Jeff the emo. Yes.
Well, you remember the story. He was always like, Mom!
Mom!
Mom, it was me. I beat up those kids. Mom.
Alrighty, Jane the Killer, the real story. Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Where's yeah. Oh. Put this up on oh Jesus. Gotta put. Oh, oh, that's good. Stretching this out. But yeah, all right. My real name is Jane Arkansas, aka Jane the Killer. And this is how I met Jeff. The reason the reason I look the way I do and why I want to kill him. When I heard that a new family had moved in across the street, I wasn't that surprised. It was nice. It was a nice neighborhood, and the house was relatively cheap.
It was a nice neighborhood where three kids regularly mug people at the bus stop with knives and have easy access to guns.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
When I heard that a new family had moved across the street, I wasn't that surprised. It was a nice neighborhood, and the house was relatively cheap considering where it was. I guess I was about 13, 14 when everything went to hell. I never really talked to Jeff
I really forgot how young they were in the original version. Like, I'm so used to the reboot version where they made them all older because it made less sense in the original how they were all like tweens, but they were all like they all got the flipping super soldier formula from Captain America. So like in the reboot they aged all the characters up so it's at least slightly more believable that they could be in these kinds of sort of situations. They wouldn't be so ridiculous. Like, oh, a kid's birthday party was held up by 3 flipping 13-year-olds, all armed with Glocks and machine guns. They also cut out that bit in the reboot because it's fucking stupid. Sorry, carry on.
Okay, alrighty. I never really talked to Jeff when he moved in. To be frank, I never talked to him until that night. But it's too soon to talk about that now. My first impression of Jeff was that he was a good kid. Probably got nice grades, rarely got into fights. Maybe even a cool guy if he opened up to someone. His brother Lou...
Although he did have this one flaw. He did seem like a bit of a whiner sometimes, you know? You could usually hear him. He would be like, "Mom, it was me. Mom, I don't have any fancy clothes." Sorry, I'm drawing on our jokes.
No. That's perfectly fine. We do that for the last 2 times we read, remember?
Don't get me wrong, Jeff seemed kind of cool and all, but he also kind of came off as like one of those, you know, dudes who listens to Simple Plan and Edema and is like, that is so deep.
Yeah, that's just so deep, man.
Yeah, see, like this one time, right? Okay, so I was in the grocery store. Like, I didn't talk to Jeff, but I could hear him. He was like humming along with the song. It was like, "I was betrayed, how can it inside?" It was like that. So you know, he was cool and all, but he was also kind of emo, like that in that 2000s way. That's still kind of cool.
I bet he listens to Linkin Park and
Jeff just wants to heal. He just wants to feel like he's somewhere he belongs.
Logs, yep. And maybe if he feels just right, he will listen to Breaking Benjamin.
Wait, no. Jeff does not listen to Breaking Benjamin, but you know who does?
Who?
Jane,
yeah!
Get it? Because Diary of Jane.
Oh my god.
As I burn another page, as I wear this plain white mask, as I put on this black dress, I will try to find my place in the Diary of Jane. No, wait. Because some people like ship Jeff and Jane because they're dumb. But if we follow that line of logic, is Breaking Benjamin Jeff the Killer's band? Think about it. Jeff's burning another page, Jeff's looking the other way, trying to find his place in the Diary of Jane.
No. No, that just sounds dumb.
Like, what I'm imagining is like, think about it. It's Creepypasta like the college years or like the high school years, but they're all like seniors in high school,
The
right?
Creepypasta tears.
Creepypasta tears.
That'd be
I was
the
gonna say
band name.
okay, so like
And
follow me on
it
this.
will
They're
have.
like they're all in school, right? Like Jeff's kind of the loner kid, who's like kind of sus. Eyeless Jack's like the cool stoner skater dude. Like he was a skater boy. He told fuck, what
I'll
was his
see you
girlfriend's
later,
name?
boy.
What was his girlfriend's name? What was the girl who was like part of the Chickarab cult?
Oh God, I don't remember her name.
Or Chernobog cult or whatever it was. God dang it, I don't remember her
The
name.
Cernabog.
Chernobog,
Praise
yeah,
Cernabog.
Chernobog.
Praise Cernabog. How about Homicidal Lou and
Yeah, okay.
and Clockwork?
Okay. So, for some reason, I imagine Clockwork being in the AV club. Although in like her story, she was like an art kid. So maybe she's like, I don't know. Maybe she's in like an art club or something. Tiki
Yes.
Toby's in like wood shop because of that.
No.
Laughing Jack's a theater kid. Laughing Jack is a 5,000% a flippin' theater kid.
Obviously.
Shit. Who else? Ben Drowned is a gamer anime weeb. But yeah, so like Jeff writes a song, like Jane's like a cheerleader or whatever, but she's like a goth cheerleader, right? So Jeff tries to write a song for her for like the talent show in my fictional universe, but he's like too stupid to be subtle about it. So he's just like they're all in the auditorium, right? And Jeff's just like, so I stab another victim. I cut another smile. I'm just trying to find my place in the diary of Jane, Arkansas. I mean, Jane, not Jane, Arkansas. I don't have feelings. Nobody understands me. Also, hello, Wolfpack.
Oh shit! Hi.
Oh, y'all reading? No, I'm creating more cringe. I'm stupid idea.
Y'all reading
Okay.
cringe?
Okay, carry on. Carry on.
We need to actually.
My joke has lasted longer than the story so far. So
Yeah. Alrighty, I'll read this again. His brother Lou seemed like he put family first, by the way. He sat with his brother on the sidewalk.
Yeah, like his brother was, he was all determined about this thing called the Mortal Kombat tournament.
And he wants to, I don't know, learn more about the old Mortal Kombat timeline and understand what made Winx Club so great.
I don't sleep. Same actually. I gotta fix my sleep schedule again. Oh, also Wolfpack. JoJo update. I just met. Actually, I think I told you this the other day. I just met Master AC/DC. I met Cars, and JoJo and Caesar, the grandson of Zeppeli. They just
Ooh.
They just got brought to the island with the Lisa.
I know where you're at. Yep, I know where you're at.
They just got thrown into the thing the thing they have to climb. I don't remember what it's called.
Oh God.
But I'm right there. Yeah, I just wanted to update you. Okay, carry on, story. Carry on.
Yeah, alright. Of course I was just guessing at the time and really didn't put that much thought into my analysis before I was getting ready for school when I looked out the window and I was running late. which was unusual for me at the time in my life because I was hardly ever late for anything, especially school. Nerd! I wasn't surprised when I saw Randy and his stooges go up. Randy! And his stooges go up to Jeff and Lou on that stupid skateboard of his. Randy was nothing but a bully. He always picked on anyone who was smaller than him. He was even the reason why my parents drove me to school instead of letting me take the bus like everyone else.
I thought this was a nice neighborhood. How is the bullying problem so bad that parents have to take their child to school to avoid the potential danger? This literally opened with, "This is a nice neighborhood." Or it was a nice neighborhood. Whatever. Jane's an unreliable narrator. Jane is Forrest Gump confirmed.
Jesus.
But no, Forrest was a reliable narrator. He was cool. Who's an unreliable narrator? So then, okay, for some reason, the only thing that popped into my head was Jane the Killer is Matt.
Jane the Killer is what?
The Matt Pat.
Oh God, no.
I mean, he is an unreliable narrator. Okay. Anyway, carry on.
Ooh, this is better to read. Now, let's see here.
Dark mode.
Establishing dark mode. Enabling dark mode. Chris. I must enable dark mode, Chris. It's the only way for me. It's the only way for me to read better. Anyway. Also, this little Silent Hill track here is interesting. Anyway. He always picked on anyone who was smaller than him. He was even the reason why my parents drove me to school instead of letting me take the bus like everyone else. Everyone had their lunch money or some kind of cash given to Randy and his goons because of some toll, quote unquote, that he demanded from everyone.
Toll.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
Gotta pay the troll toll to get into this bus door.
To get into this bus store. Anyway, we all knew Randy's group had knives and threatened to use them on us when we ever told anyone about the money they took from the other kids on the block. Everyone except the new kids. They were trying to intimidate like the rest of us. When I saw Randy talking to them through the window, I just looked away. It was a wussy thing to do that. I had better things to do than watch another kid hand over his money to Randy, but curiosity got the better of me, and I looked up a few seconds later, and what I saw left me speechless. Jeff was standing now, and it looked like Randy already had what he wanted. Just sit down, I thought. Don't be stupid. Then I saw Jeff punch Randy in the face and broke his wrist. Oh my God, I whispered. Then I yelled, "You idiot!" My parents ran down the stairs and I asked what happened. Then they looked outside and saw what was going on. Jeff had already cut the skinny guy, I think his name was Keith, and he went down screaming. Troy only went down with a single point.
Yeah, you know, but he went down with a single point, right? Okay, he went down with a point.
Yeah, it went down with a point.
A point. Went down with a single point.
Since my house was across the street from where Jeff and his brother were sitting. with the front of his house having big windows. We saw the whole thing, or at least I did. My parents came in after that part when Randy stole their wallet, so I didn't know the whole. So they didn't know the whole truth. It was disturbing watching Jeff fight. He was enjoying himself too much. I felt a knot in my stomach, like something was happening that shouldn't be. But from the look on Lou's face, Jeff didn't do this kind of thing often.
I just point out maybe he felt satisfied because he beat up a dude who was trying to extort and threaten his little brother. I would feel being satisfied if, like, you know, my brother was being threatened and like I shut the dude up who was like threatening my family. I'd feel pretty freaking satisfied. I think 99% of people would be satisfied. Like, I get what it's going for. It's supposed to be like, oh, you know, I could see the signs of early evil or whatever the flip. But like, I think most people would feel satisfied.
Oh my god.
If they protected their family.
Anyway. Next thing I know, I hear sirens and the new kids bolted out of there. The cops came around with the bus driver to check on the victims, quote unquote. Hey, it seemed like they were going to be all right.
That didn't happen in the original story. The cops weren't there at the bus scene. The bus driver was, because the bus was pulling up. The cops come later, presumably being told one side of the story by Randy and the bullies.
Wait a minute. What's this now? You care about continuity?
That really shock you.
You know, I was making
anyone.
No, I was making a joke. Everybody does.
No, 100%. I want to know if it shocks a single person in the chat right now that Emily Alucard cares about continuity. Oh
God! What if you said no? Will people be shocked then? Yes. I bet they will.
Maybe they would be.
Yeah, you just don't care about continuity. Like, you don't even care if a story is bad or whatnot.
People would probably be confused if I all of a sudden stopped caring about continuity and storytelling and all this garbo.
Yeah, already. You know, considering the amount of crap kicked out of them. Since my parents' policy was no cops, ever since my dad got framed by a narc cop when he wanted to draw attention off of himself when police were investigating the case of the missing coke. It ended with my dad quitting the force.
This is a nice neighborhood, but we have police corruption and cocaine and all this shit. Okay, sure we do. I agree, Emily. You can't care about it when you can't understand. Lol, JK.
I had two. I had two.
Story.
Oh my God.
I will have you know, Wolfpack. I used to be in the trenches of the Creepypasta icon character fandom. I used to know all the stupid stories. And I still have, like, I still hold to the belief. Like, the characters in and of themselves, a good writer can make these characters work, but a lot of the stories of the icon pasta characters aren't amazing. Some of them are actually good, but others are not. Like, the original Jeff the Killer story was not very good. The Eyeless Jack one was enjoyable, but it's so-so. Laughing Jack, I enjoy it for what it is, but it's very predictable and it's
That's disturbing,
very
Emily.
what?
Oh.
That's disturbing, Emily. No, it's not. I'm not disturbing, am I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyway, continue the story,
So,
please.
it ended with my dad quitting the force, so when we heard sirens, we went into the backyard and got into the car and left. When my parents drove me to school, they told me very clearly that they didn't want me to talking to Jeff ever. I did not disagree with them. I had art first period, so I didn't see Jeff until close to the end of school. I can still see the colors in my artwork if I think hard enough. But when I try to look at anything now, it all seems gray. I guess that's the price someone pays for losing their innocence. I didn't see Jeff until the final period of the day. When I did, he seemed off. At first I thought he was just faking the joy so people wouldn't suspect him for the crime that he just did. But he really was enjoying himself. It wasn't because he was excited to be at school. I could tell that much from him. The smile he wore looked sadistic to me. It was the smile of a madman. The second that bell rang, I bolted out of those doors as fast as I could. Nobody but me knew what Jeff really was. A freak.
Jesus. Harsh much?
The next day seemed to be passing without incident at first. Then I saw a police car in front of Jeff's house. Looks like they got you, I thought.
I'm just joking, lol. Yeah, I know. I know. It's okay.
Nobody couldn't have gotten away with something like that. You know, with the neighborhood watch and everything.
There's a neighborhood watch, but you have a bullying problem so bad. Parents drive their children to school. Okay. Okay.
But I was wrong with who they arrested. Instead of coming out with Jeff like I expected they would, the police came out with Lou, his brother. I was barely forming the thought of Jeff framing his brother for the assault when he came out of the house yelling at Lou, tell them I did it. I was able to hear him this time because the front door was open to my house. I couldn't hear what Lou said in reply to Jeff's outburst, but it was definitely not what Jeff wanted to hear. A few seconds later, the police drove off with Lou, and Jeff was left outside with his mother. A few minutes later, she went inside the house and left Jeff outside. Although I couldn't hear him from across the street, I could tell that he was crying. But who wouldn't be in that situation? The next day, rumors were spreading like wildfire about Lou. It took so long for the rumors to get started because everyone was afraid to talk about Randy getting his ass handed to him. When it was revealed that he wouldn't be coming back to school for a few days, everyone decided to take advantage of the fact and enjoy it as much as possible, and lots of random bullshit started popping up. I heard Lou cut off Keith's arm. Oh yeah? Well, I heard that Lou hit Troy so hard in the stomach that he roughed up blood. That's nothing. I heard that he punched Randy so hard in the nose that he came out in the back of his head, etc., etc., etc.
What the hell? Okay, I guess that's sort of realistic. For the age, like the ages all the characters are supposed to be in their original story, I guess those kind of thoughts are... I guess those kind of rumors would be realistic for that age demographic.
Personally, personally, I didn't want anything to do with Jeff or his brother, but he just looked so alone and upset that I had to do something. So I wrote him a note telling him that he had a friend in this place, and that I was going to testify at Lou's trial about what really happened. I left the note at his desk signed with the letter J.
Okay, I'm not familiar with how court proceedings or juvenile court or any of that stuff actually work, but would they send him to juvie before the trial?
Actually,
Because
yes.
in the original, they would? They would
Yes.
send him to juvie before the trial?
Yes.
I thought they'd hold him like out of school until the trial date, which would then determine whether or not he goes to juvenile detention.
Nope.
Oh. Okay. Okay, I actually didn't know that. Like, I don't know. That didn't make sense. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But whatever, it is what it is. But also, I have a question for Jane. She says she doesn't want anything to do with Jeff or Lou, but then she's like, oh, but I felt bad for him and all this stuff. So I wrote him a letter saying he had a friend. Like, you don't, like, I don't know, and you were going to testify and all this stuff. You could just say, hey, look, dude, I know what really happened. I'm gonna testify. When you say, you've got a friend, that kind of implies you do want a deeper connection. You want to get to know the person. I don't know. I'm just saying Jane could have worded that differently. You could have been like, hey, look, dude, I know you're hurting right now, but I'm gonna testify to help your brother and all.
I gotta not true. You go to Juvie or CCD as it's called here in Texas.
Not true. You go to.
Yeah, exactly what I just said. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You go to Juvie first, and then you set up the court date.
Okay. Well, no, the juvie is where they, like, in the original story, the cops show up and they're like, looks like it's a year in juvie, Lou, and then they take him away to juvenile detention.
Yes.
That's what confused me. Okay.
Oh, okay. I see where the confusion takes place in.
Okay. Proceed.
That's weird. All right. I left a note on his desk signed with the letter J before class started. Then I left the room. When I came back, Jeff was at his desk and the note was gone. Saturday rolled around and I was home alone. Home alone? Get it? Home alone?
Bone alone?
Yeah, I'm sad it's not even bone alone. Well, my parents were at work. The kid next door was having a birthday party at the time. I left my window open because I wanted a nice breeze in my room while I did my homework, but the kids were getting so loud that I decided to close my window. I was about to close it when I saw Jeff play with the kids. He was running around.
You go first, and you have to rot in there until you agree to something. Okay. Okay.
All right, you don't have to go that far, damn. But yeah,
No, that's the comment.
I know that.
I was reading Mac's comment.
I know that. Anyway, he was running around wearing one of these fake cowboy hats and carrying a toy gun. He looked so ridiculous, I had to laugh. Maybe he isn't the monster I think he is, I thought, ashamed of myself for suspecting he could have been one.
Yeah,
as I was closing,
you gotta be so judgmental, Jane.
As I was closing the window, I saw Randy, Keith, and Troy jump over the fence on their skateboards to where Jeff was. Not again, I said, to open the window. I said to the open window. I saw Randy and Jeff. exchanged small talk, but I couldn't hear what they said over the sound of the kids yelling and screaming. Then Randy rushed to Jeff and tackled him. I was about to grab my phone and dial 911 when I heard Troy and Keith shout, "No one interrupts or guts will fly." I looked out the window. I looked out the window again and saw that they both had matching guns in their hands. I couldn't have called for help then without endangering the lives of others. I couldn't
Same
have
in
called
the
911 anyway. The batteries in my phone was dead.
What the fuck? Don't you have a landline?
Yeah, don't you have a fucking landline?
This takes put no, dude, this is bullshit. Like, if this is when the original story was written, the original story of Jeff the Killer was written in like what, 2012?
Yeah, she should have called a freaking landline.
Your parents probably have a landline in your home. Does she not know how? Wait, is it like one of those old, what are they called, rotisserie phones? Does she just not know how to use it?
Oh
It's like,
God.
well, the truth is, we had a landline. I just never learned how to use it.
I just never learned how to use it. I have a fucking I have a fucking rotisserie phone to cook my rotisserie chicken. And I can't seem to get it to function. I can't seem to get it to work.
Oh my goodness. Like, okay, that's my headcanon. My headcanon is Jane's just dumb and, like, never thought maybe I should learn to use the home phone in case of, like, some emergency.
The phone landlines are dead though, but I am home alone. And 2 burglars will come to my home. So I had to set up some damn traps and whatnot and continue it for like 6 separate movies. And several spin-offs. That makes no sense to the source material. That has the same concept.
Want to know what could have actually worked here? And this
What?
is just a shot in the dark kind of idea.
Okay. Shot in the dark. All right.
Yeah, this is
a
shot in the dark-ish idea.
Go on.
What you could have done, like in the original story, they didn't say there were no other like older-ish kids at this party. Like Jane could have said, "Oh, I was also at the party. I saw Jeff come out," and she could have even said, "Hey, he looked just as awkward as I felt at this party with all these kids, but parents want to make good impressions and stuff." Like, could that be a callback to what Jeff's parents had wanted in the original story? You could just have her be there, have her see what happens, because that's what this is gonna, that's what this part is anyway. It's like her observing the events of, the party where Jeff kills Randy and all them. You could just insert her there because there's nothing in the original story, I don't believe, that said, oh, like that she couldn't have been there. You could have inserted her into there, and we wouldn't even have this issue of Jane just being dumb or her parents just not having a landline for whatever reason, which I think the majority of households had back when this would have been written. Anyway.
Yeah, that's
you could change that little detail of this and insert her in there in a way that worked a little better and didn't create any plot holes or just questions of like, you don't have a landline, you can't like run to your neighbor's house or something and have them call the police.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't get this.
Like, again, like, maybe if I went back and checked the original story, maybe there'd be something else in there, or maybe you could come up with other ways around. What I'm saying, like, my idea isn't perfect, but I'm just saying you could have done this a little bit differently, and it would have just maybe flowed a little better here. Like, because right now, my big question is like, why don't you have like a landline, or why can't you just go to another neighbor's home and be like, hey, um, I saw some kids with guns in the neighbor's house. We should call the police. And like, if you have a neighborhood watch, you've probably grown up here, I assume. You probably know whose house that is. Maybe the neighborhood watch people have weapons of their own. They can come and potentially break this up. I don't know. They probably wouldn't. That's probably a little too like action movie, but they could do something potentially, or possibly have a phone to call the police.
You had to have a phone to call the
Yeah,
police.
I have a phone to play Diablo Immortal.
Oh my god. Stop.
Anyways, carry on.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, you probably already knew about this by the leaks, the Blizzard leaks, that Diablo Immortal might be on consoles.
Champions.
So, that's like one of the leaks, one of the things as part of the leaks here. Anyway, Jeff is on his side getting kicked by Randy in the face when he grabbed his foot and twisted it. Randy fell over and Jeff tried to walk back to the house where Troy grabbed him by the collar and threw him towards the house. I heard glass breaking and I knew then that they were going to kill him. Randy, you asshat, I screamed at him, but he couldn't hear me over the sound of the kids screaming. I couldn't wait anymore, so I ran to my parents' bedroom and searched for my dad's cell phone.
Okay, there we go. See there. Problem.
Hoping that he forgot it at home. My heart was pounding in my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher the chance of someone getting killed was.
Also, can I just say, was Jane hoping that she would like call out like, Randy, you dickhead, and he would be like, oh man, Jane saw me being a piece of shit. Now I feel bad. It'd be like the Hulk with Betty Ross, where she's like, Hulk, don't hurt these people, and he's like, Betty, and then he's like, oh, and then he's like, not hurting anybody anymore. He's like, he's calmed and shit. What's happening?
My heart was pounding in my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher the chance of someone getting killed was. I finally found the phone underneath the bed. What? I wasted underneath the bed. Yeah, that's what I've got a question. Like not even on a nightstand,
not on a dresser.
Yeah, not on a dresser, nor in a nightstand drawer that you might have put it in there. I don't know.
Maybe like a dining room table close to your door where you could grab it when you leave. Or like on a charger, something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but what convenient way is it, based on all that we said, is under a bed? The father might have probably been lazy and dropped it.
Wait a second. If Jane has a phone, at least if it's like a semi-modernish smartphone, you could plug it in to a charger, and it will work. It'll work functionally enough to make a phone call. Because most phones I've always had would do that, now that I think about it. Now, I may be remembering phones of 2012 or 2011 or whatever. I may be misremembering them. Like, maybe they weren't able to do that. Maybe I'm just too used to modern smartphones. But I feel like they could do that. If you plugged it into a charger, you'd be able to still make a phone call.
Yeah.
I wasted no time. I don't remember phones of that time period too much.
I wasted no time punching in the numbers. 911, hello? I need help. There's an emergency going on next door. Some guys jumped a
Okay,
fence
hold
and
on,
are
hold
beating
on.
up someone. They've got guns. You need to hurry, please.
Aren't they supposed to say not like? Isn't there an actual reason that they say 911? What is your emergency? Like, isn't that like there? I swear, I remember hearing somewhere there's an actual reason why that's the thing they always open with and say.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I could be wrong about that one. Like, I'd have to look that up. But anyway, carry on, carry on.
Okay, miss, you need to tell me the address and I'll send help right away. I quickly told her my address and the address on the house next door. Please hurry! I said. It's okay, just stay on the line. Bang, bang, bang! I heard loud gunshots come from next door. I yelped as I dropped the phone. It landed on the ground and broke. What? How? Okay, it might be hardwood flooring. I don't know. Then I ran to my bedroom window to try and figure out what was going on, but no sooner than I poked my head out the window, I heard the whoosh of a fire and the screaming. I'm going to make Jeff scream like that again when I find him. The only thing I can compare to
Edgy.
is the death cry of an animal. It was just at the time for me horrifying. What the fun is this grammar? Grammar build up in that sentence. But now it sounds like music to me, and there is nothing I want to hear more in the world than him screaming. Damn! Edgy. Edgy.
That's some super edge. I want to hear him scream. I want him to suffer.
I saw fire spew out of the house like a. I saw fire spew out of the house like an angry like an angry dragon. Sorry. I ran downstairs.
Just to know the deep agony that pierces the black veil of her heart.
I ran downstairs immediately and got the portable fire extinguisher from the kitchen and ran outside. When I was running, I popped the pin for the extinguisher and for immediate use. Luckily, the door was unlocked and I barged in, but when I saw Jeff, I completely froze. He was lying at the bottom of the stairs, almost completely on fire, with the adults trying to put it out. I saw bits of his skin, though, all the commotion. Some parts pink, some parts charred, but it was all covered in red. At the sight of this, I screamed and then I passed out. Last thing I remember is some of the adults running towards me. Whether it was to help me get the fire extinguisher, either it was to help me or get the fire extinguisher, I don't know. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed wearing one of those gowns that a patient wears. A nurse came in a few moments later. She had long brown hair and a bun hidden under her hat. She looked like she didn't want to be there. I asked her what happened. All I know is that you were brought in with a few other kids because you fell and hit your head on a fire extinguisher, she said, annoyed. A fire?
Just, I don't know. The thought of that to me is just silly.
I know.
She just runs in with and it's like, oh, thanks for your help, Jay. Now we have to get two flipping medical teams out here.
A fire extinguisher? I reached up to my hand and touched my head. I felt bandages and a large bump the size of an orange. Then I remembered Jeff, one of the guys that came in here with me. The one with the burns. Is he going to be alright? She sighed. Listen, there was 2 boys that were brought in with you that had burns. I'm not letting you see him because... You ready for this? Yeah, I'm not letting...
Oh, I think I remember it. I think I remember the line. Go ahead, go ahead.
I know, I'm not letting you see him just because he's your boyfriend.
Damn.
I felt the
That made a lot of
heat.
shippers happy.
I felt the heat rise in my face. He isn't my boyfriend. I'm just worried about him. Wouldn't you be worried about someone who you just saw burning alive in front of you? I tried to keep my voice steady, but my voice quivered enough to make it sound like I was lying. Whatever. Your parents are here, by the way. Want to see them? She asked. Yes, of course. Anything to get me away from that nurse. Damn, got him.
Savage.
My parents came in and the nurse finally left. They asked what happened. I told them everything. The fight, the note, all of it. I knew that Randy was no good, my mom said. So, have you heard anything about Jeff's condition? I asked.
We already established that y'all knew y'all drove her to school specifically because of how bad the neighborhood bullying problem was. Oh my goodness.
So, have you heard anything about Jeff's condition? I asked. No, not a thing, said my dad. We just got here as soon as we heard about what happened to you. But who told you? I asked. I didn't think I saw anyone at that party that my family knew. The hospital called us, Mom said. Well, I guess that makes sense. It made absolutely no sense to me, of course. How would someone be able to identify me without me having any form of identification? I looked in the doorway and I saw a man and a woman standing there. My parents followed my gaze and saw them too. Excuse me, but is this Jane Arkansas's room? The woman asked. Yes, my mother answered. Who are you? I'm Margaret, and this is Peter, my husband. She gestured to the man beside her. We're Jeff's parents. Oh God, the Silent Hill music now. Oh. I sat up in my bed. I'm Isabel, and this is my husband Greg, and our daughter Jane. Mom gestured to me. So you're the girl who ran in with the fire extinguisher, Margaret said. Yes, I replied quietly, embarrassed. Is your son all right? He just came out of surgery a few hours ago. The doctor said he will be fine. I relaxed at that thought. That's good, I said. Listen, I know what happened to Jeff and Lou on their first day of school. Then I told Jeff's parents what really happened to Randy and his crew. We had no idea that Jeff was capable on something like this, Peter said. I am willing to testify that Lou didn't beat up anyone, and that Jeff only beat up Randy and his gang in self-defense. No need, said Margaret. Lou is being released from jail after what happened to those boys. That's good, I said. We just came to say thank you for trying to help our son, Jane. It warms my heart to see selfless people in your generation.
Yeah, you damn Zoomers are.
yeah, damn Zoomers. I blushed.
You Zoomers and your I don't know what is my generation like? You Zoomers and your PS3s. Zoomers and your PS3s.
You're Gen Z. Anyway, I blushed. I didn't. I did anything anyone would have done in my situation. I looked down. I am not a hero. Nonsense, Margaret said. The least we can do is invite you over to our place for dinner when Jeff gets out of the hospital. I looked at my mom and dad. It would be an honor, my mom said. It's settled then. We'll call you as soon as Jeff gets out of the hospital. We said our goodbyes and then they left. About 2 days passed and I was able to be released from the hospital. During that time I had no contact with Jeff or his family, but I heard that Lou was released from jail and Jeff's wounds were healing. When I got back to school, I became the center of attention. More or less, I was the only one who saw what happened at the party, but the only people I told about what happened were my friends, Danny, Marcy, and Erica. I didn't know what to tell them, so I told them what I saw. Sounds like Jeff got his ass handed to him, said Danny.
Would ask why we're only now being introduced to these characters. Wouldn't it have been, like, I don't know, I feel like a better place to have introduced them would have been earlier, like when Jeff was, like when after Lou had been taken away to juvie. Like maybe you could have had some scenes with Jane where we could develop a little more of her actual personality, where we see her interact with these people, like maybe what they think of Jeff, we get a discussion, and maybe that could even influence why Jane writes the letter to him and says the whole, you have a friend here line or whatever. Like maybe one of them could have had an experience not exactly the same as Jeff's, but maybe where they were separated from a loved one and were put in a difficult situation like that, and Jane feels bad and tries to reach out in that way. Or maybe we could learn that Jane was like that at one point through her interactions with these other people. That would give us some insight into her character, and we'd actually get to see her doing other stuff that's not immediately linked to the Jeff the Killer story events.
Yeah. Said Danny. She had raven black hair with sapphire blue eyes. She was usually the most level-headed of us. Well, at least he went down fighting. I heard that he took those idiots to the hospital with him. Erica snickered. She always dressed like she was from the 80s or something. Long thigh-high rainbow colored socks with hair to match, and always wearing some kind of backpack with her. He also took Jane to the hospital.
Like an American student? Like every student in every student in at least the southeast United States.
Yeah, I wonder who lives there. Anyway.
Also, now I don't know how normal this is at other schools, but I don't think any school I ever went to, like, I know they don't live in my state, but I don't think any school that I've been to would have allowed thigh highs.
Yeah, I don't think they would allow thigh highs either. He also took Jane to the hospital. Maybe she was trying to beat him up too, Marcy laughed. She seemed to be the girly girl of our little group. She was blonde with brown eyes, and nearly every time we saw her, she had some sort of pink on her. Whether it was the color of her shirt or the jewelry around her neck. And she was one of the biggest drama queens I knew. Always stretching out the truth or blowing something out of proportion. I told you, I went over there to try to help Jeff because something was wrong, I muttered. I was the plain Jane. Quote unquote. Brown hair, green eyes, completely unremarkable looks-wise.
Uh, she was the plain Jane.
Yes.
She was the plain
She.
Jane.
Yes.
Oh, of course. Never. No. Just go.
You sure? You don't want to discuss this further?
No, I don't.
You sure? You don't want to discuss this further? Plain Jane. Plain Jane.
Oh my god. Whatever. Whatever. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
Plain Jane. Okay. Or maybe you wanted to see your love one last time before he left to go get help for himself, Marcy said in her dramatic voice, quote unquote. I just looked at her with my eyes and the size of dinner plates.
I was looking at her with my tongue.
What? You can't
Because I looked
deny
at her
it,
with
Jane
my-
Arkansas. You have a
Oh.
crush on Jeff. Every blood cell in my body decided to migrate to my face at once when she said that.
Rage.
What? No! I just wanted to help him, that's all. Liar, I saw you leave that note you left on his desk. What was it? A confession of your love for him? No, it was nothing like that at all. I was just... So you admit that you left him a note then? What do you mean? I was guessing. She gave me a cynical little smile and then just waited for my response. The other girls started laughing at me. Jane, it's only a joke. I was just kidding. Marcy smiled. Your face is redder than a tomato, Erica cackled. I hate all of you, I grumbled. Oh, stop being so serious. Danny just put a hand on my shoulder. Come on, let's get to class. The weeks went by, everything seemed to be normal. I think Lou even made a few friends. Everything was normal and nothing happened. Then Lou came up to me one day and told me about Jeff. Excuse me, your name is Jane, right? I turned around and looked. It was Lou. Yes, you're Lou, right? Jeff's brother? Yeah. He looked a little uncomfortable. Then again, so was I. Look, my parents wanted me to tell you that Jeff is getting his bandages removed in a few days. So, expect a phone call inviting you to dinner soon. Okay, well, thank you.
Can I say something? Maybe Lou should say thank you, because Jane was gonna testify at his trial. You could at least say, hey, thanks for doing the right thing. Like, yeah, obviously, we know that Keith and Troy confessed to everything. Well, Randy did too, technically, but everybody knows that the bullies were the actual bad kids and all that stuff. But Lou, you could at least say, "Oh, hey, you're Jane, right? Hey, I wanted to say thank you since I had heard that you were gonna testify at my trial, that I was innocent. Thank you for that and all." You could at least say that, Lou. Oh, but
Lou.
no, Lou's like, no, I've got to go train to defeat Shang Tsung.
Lou's like, nah,
Because I'm
fam.
friends with
I'm
you."
just gonna pack my things and fight Shao Kahn to win the Mortal Kombat tournament.
I'm just gonna pack my things and fight Shao Kahn.
Okay, well, thank you, I said. He was about to turn away when I said, hey, listen, what you did for Jeff, that was really respectful. Thanks, I heard you tried to help my brother with a fire extinguisher. That was cool. Yeah, question mark. Well, Thanks. See you around, I guess. Yeah, see ya. I was watching him walk away when I heard a little voice beside me say, "Cheating on your boyfriend, are you?" The fuck? I turned around, surprised it was Marcy. And with his own brother, nonetheless, she fake gasped. "Shut up!" I yelled.
Adam.
Then I turned my
Or
head
just
to
shut
make
up.
sure Lou didn't
Adam.
hear me. He didn't. "Let's just get to class," I grumbled. 2 days passed until the phone rang. My mom answered it, and a few minutes later she got off and told me this. "Jeff's getting out of the hospital today, Jane." I looked up at her and said, "That's great. It looks like we've been having that free dinner in a few days," she chuckled. A few hours passed and I heard a car pull up into a driveway across the street. I looked out the window and I saw Jeff's car in front of its house. Jeff's home, I thought. I decided to watch out of curiosity to see what he would look like. Dear God, how wrong I was. His dad got out, then his mom,
He
then
looked like
Lou.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
But what I expected Jeff to look like couldn't be farther from what I saw. He had long black hair down to his shoulders, white leathery skin, and that smile. That smile was the same smile I saw when he was in class after he beat up Randy, Keith, and Troy. But Jeff looked right at me, into my eyes. I could feel those soulless, sadistic eyes burn right into my soul.
Hashtag those dark demon eyes. If you get that
I
reference,
still
you know what I'm
shake
saying.
from that memory, even now as I type this. Wait, so she was typing this whole thing? This whole time?
Well, yeah, you're reading the story on the internet. Presumably, Jane would be the one to type it out. This is Jane the Killer, the real story.
He seemed to be looking at me for hours with that smile until he looked away. I saw him walk into the house with his parents. I didn't even breathe until that door finally closed behind them. My parents came into the living room and asked me what was wrong. My only reply was a long, loud scream. Then I fainted. When I finally woke up, it was dark outside. My parents weren't in their bedroom. The house was deathly quiet. I got up and went downstairs. I was wearing a long nightgown and I was wearing before I fainted. I went downstairs to the kitchen. The lights were on, which was unusual. My parents always told me to turn off the lights in our room when I left it. Then there was a note on the table. I picked it up. Scowled on the paper was this: "Aren't you coming to dinner? Your friends are here too." I began to shake violently. I dropped the paper. I went to the living room window and looked out. The lights were on in Jeff's house. I knew that I had to go there, but I was terrified out of my mind. I shook my head and looked back again. I saw Jeff leaning on the window in his house, staring at me with a knife in his hand and tapping it against the window. Tap, tap, tap. He was still smiling. Tap, tap, tap. Oh my God. Ooh, scary. I started stepping back from the window, never taking my eyes off of him. Then I turned.
Yes.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
I had to turn this down. Alright. I started stepping back from the window, never taking my eyes off of him. Then I turned and ran away from the window into the kitchen. When I peeked out of the kitchen to look out of the window, all I saw was a smear of red on the window. I turned around and looked at the kitchen. Everything seemed to be in its place, even the knives. I grabbed one of them and held on tight. Then I found the phone and tried to dial 911, but the phone line was disconnected. I had no idea where Dad's cell phone was, or if it was even fixed. I didn't want to go upstairs to find it. I didn't want to
read
get.
that again. Read that again. Read that again.
I turned around and looked at the kitchen. Everything seemed to be in its place, even the knives. I grabbed one of them and held on tight. Then I found the phone and tried to dial 911, but the phone line was disconnected. I had no idea where Dad's cell phone was, or if it was even fixed.
So they did have a landline?
Oh my god.
I don't know. I don't know. That annoyed me a lot earlier, but now apparently we did have a landline. It was just broken. They could have just said that earlier, and my entire rant wouldn't have even needed to exist. Anyway,
Oh my
anyway,
god.
carry on.
Oh my
That's
god.
so annoying. That's so actually annoying.
I didn't want to go upstairs to find it. I didn't want to get stabbed in the back while I was looking for it. And even if I went to ask one of the neighbors for help, Jeff could kill or hurt whoever he have captive. So
What?
I was.
He's freaking like 11 or 12. What the fuck are they gonna do?
So there was only one choice. To go fight Jeff alone.
What? What is this? What is this? Zoom Academy for superheroes? I don't know why that was the thing that came to my mind, but it was.
I clutched.
No, there are so many other things you could do right now. Like you could not you could just assume Jeff is fucking weird, but like that's kind of an escalation, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's a little much for this situation right now.
Yeah, like oh, I gotta go and fight him. You know, he's drugged up. He's acting
He's drugged up. He sounds. Yeah, I'm gonna go kill his. I'm gonna kill off his emo edgy phase.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna kill his ears for making him not listen to Linkin Park.
Like there are so many other ways you could handle this situation.
Yes.
Jane and Lingus.
Well, anyway, let's continue this bullshit story. I clutched the knife tighter, and I went to the front door. I put on my shoes, and I went outside. My hand lingered on the doorknob as I stepped outside, but I knew what I had to do. I let go of the doorknob and marched across the street to Jeff's house. As I got closer to the front door of his house, I began to slow down. My knees began to shake, my palms began to sweat, and I started to breathe faster and shallower. Before I knew it, I was standing completely still on the front doorstep, panting like a dog. I manned up, grabbed the doorknob, squeezed my eyes shut, and jerked it open.
Womaned up.
Whatever. I stood there in the doorway with a knife in my
I'm talking to Jane. Like, don't you mean woman up, Jane?
I stood there in the doorway with a knife in my right hand.
The door. I got on the floor. I walked
like the dinosaur. I stood there in the doorway with a knife in my right hand, and Oh. Yeah.
Hello,
This is right. This is right.
hello, Game Challenge Wolf.
I
Hello.
stood there in the doorway with a knife in my right hand and the doorknob in my left, too terrified to open my eyes until I heard a voice said, "Looks like you made it. I'm glad you did, friend." I opened my eyes, then screamed. His eyes were large and unblinking, and his smile was red. He had carved
He
a
looks like
smile
a fish.
into his face. His clothes were covered in blood, and then I passed out with my amiibo.
What the fuck? Does it actually say that?
No.
Oh. So we've established Jane is one. Jane super overreacts. Two, Jane is just a complete failure in combat. Like, first we had the fire extinguisher. She came over there. She fainted with the fire extinguisher. Now she thinks people's lives are in danger and she's like, oh, I shouldn't call the cops. I gotta go fight him myself. Because this is
God.
flippin'. This is, I don't know. I don't know I don't know what this would even be. This is tween some stupid shit, and Jane's gotta go kill Jeff now. But anyway, so she comes over. She thinks he's got people hostage or whatever, and like there's people in danger, and somehow she's just the only one who can save the day, and she goes over and just faints. Great. Um,
When I
you're
woke
a real
up, I
you're
was
a
at
real
the
hero, Jane.
When I woke up, I was at a dining room table. My knife was gone, and when I looked up, I saw people sitting at the table. It was my parents, Jeff's parents, his brother Lou, and my friends. They were all dead, with smiles carved into their faces, with huge red cavities in their chests.
Okay, can I say something real quick? Real quick.
Yes.
When did Jeff do this?
If I remember at the story, his parents, even Lou, were at bed.
Yes. Here's the thing,
And
though.
this was during the dinner party.
This is the night that Jeff cut out his eyelids and cut open his mouth for the smile, and he turned himself into a fish man. But here's the thing. How would Jeff would have had, you have to understand this. Jeff would have had to have killed his parents, killed his brother, even though that was later retconned that Lou survived and he became House Lou and all that bullshit. Anyway, Jeff would have had to have killed them, dragged their bodies down to the table. Jeff would have had to have learned who Jane's friends were, which he would have no way of doing because his only interaction with Jane so far was that she wrote him the letter and signed it J, and that like he would have heard, I guess, maybe he would have heard from Lou or from his parents that Jane had tried to help with the fire extinguisher, but then how would they get that information if it was pretty clear in the earlier scene where Lou actually interacted with Jane that he didn't know much about her and they didn't really have a formal relationship. So even if like it's like how would Jeff have even known who they were, let alone went to wherever they live, murder them, drag their bodies I guess across the street through the road in the middle of the night without anyone seeing him, without anyone questioning all of this, and set up this whole elaborate dinner thing.
This makes no sense.
Or there is another possibility here.
Emily,
Or
this makes no sense.
or did Jane faint because we've established Jane is completely useless in combat. Did Jeff then tie Jane up, go across the street to Jane's house, break into Jane's house, look through like her diary and stuff, find out who her friends were, go to wherever they live, kill them, drag them back
Oh my
here,
God.
and then kill them, tie them Just to fuck with Jane.
Yeah, just to ruin Jane's life. Yeah,
Like, either way you
no.
slice it, it's dumb and makes no sense.
No, no, I don't think any of this now makes any sense.
Well, no, it doesn't make sense, but like, you have to question, like, how did this even happen in universe?
Anyway, when I woke up, I'm reading this again. When I woke up, I was at a dining room table. My knife was gone, and when I looked up, I saw people sitting at the table. It was my parents, Jeff's parents, his brother Lou, and my friends. They were all dead, with smiles carved into their faces, with huge red cavities in their chests. The smell was unbearable and indescribable, unlike anything I have ever smelled before. It was the smell of death. But wait a minute. If Lou's dead, then okay. I tried to scream, but I had a gag in my mouth, and I was tied to a chair. I looked around at the room in disbelief. Tears were welling up in my eyes from the sight and the smell of the bodies. Look who's finally awake. I turned and looked beside me. Jeff was there. I tried screaming, but the gag was in the way. Suddenly he was beside with a knife against my throat. Shh, shush, 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 shush. It's not polite to scream at friends. He began sliding the blade across my face, constant, constant, constantly tracing invisible lines from the corners of my mouth and my cheeks in a large grinning smile. I shivered as he did this. When I turned away from him, he grabbed the back of my head and forced me to look at the scene at the table. Now, don't be rude. You're insulting everyone by not looking at their pretty faces. I looked back at the table, looking at everyone with their faces carved into smiles and some with their chests still bleeding fresh blood. Hot tears began running down my face, and I began to sob. Aw, what's wrong? Jeff purred. Are you upset that you don't look beautiful like them? I looked at him, trying to understand what he said, but I looked away, and when I saw his face again, I looked back to the table. Don't worry, I'll make you look beautiful too. What do you say? He then slid the knife under the gag and cut it off. I spat out the gag and I looked at him straight in the eyes, trying to hold his gaze. He tilted his head to the side as he looked back at me. Then I shut my eyes and looked away from him. Then I muttered darkly, Go fuck yourself.
Damn,
Damn!
edgy.
Then I turned to look at him again.
It's hardcore.
Oh my god! Then I turned to look at him again. You Joker reject.
What a heel!
He just laughed in my
That's
face.
so stupidly meta. Like, that's technically a meta joke because, like, the joke with Jeff the Killer is he looks like flipping Heath Ledger's Joker, which he does. And you know like that should be funny, but it's really not. It's not. Like, the thing is, there are actually people who've made art of Jeff the Killer that actually make him look cool, but the original look, like the photo that everybody's seen, looks lame as fuck. He looks so freaking like he looks so lame.
He just laughed in my face. I preferred it when he just smiled. You're even funnier than I thought. He came closer to me. I looked away again, feeling his breath against my skin. Friends do friends favors, right? Well, I'm going to do a favor for you. I felt him let go of the back of my head. When I looked back, he was out of the room. I looked back at the table once more, taking it all in. Fresh tears started to come down my face as I remembered my family and friends who were alive only a few hours ago. I was still crying when Jeff came back.
Even this
Don't,
story points it out that this was just a couple hours ago. When
don't,
did he do this?
don't
Oh my
cry, he
god.
said. It will all be over soon. I looked down at him and I saw he was holding a jug of bleach and a can of gas. My eyes widened and I looked back at him. I didn't have any alcohol, so this will have to do. Then he began to douse me in bleach and gasoline. We had better hurry, Jane. I already called the firemen. Then he had lit up a single match. Lit it. Then he held up a single match. Lit it. Then
And said
threw it
flame
at
on.
me. Then threw it at me. The flames erupted as soon as the match came in contact with me. I screamed as loud as possible. The pain was unbearable. I can feel the flesh melting off my body, the heat invading every pore in my body, blood evaporating as evaporating in its veins, and my bones becoming charred and brittle. Before I
If
blacked
my
out,
knowledge is correct about burning alive, you actually would stop feeling it after a bit of you would actually stop feeling it.
I hear Jeff laughing. See you later, my friend. I hope you become as beautiful as I am. Then everything went to
I just
black.
realized something. Okay, this actually fits in with our version of Jeff, where he's like a whiny little like beta boy. Jeff wants a girlfriend. Like, look at what's happening here.
Yes.
Jeff is a beta male.
He was a boy.
Jeff is basically like a
He was a boy. She was a girl. I
Can I make it
cannot
any
make
more
any more obvious.
He wore a hoodie, she wore a dress. What more can I say? He wanted her, but she'd never tell.
I just had to. I'm
He wants him.
sorry.
He wants him to burn in hell. All of her
No.
friends, they got murdered because they had a problem with Jeff's um Jeff's lack of lips. She was a she was a jader. She was a jader boy.
She was a jader boy.
She was a skater Jane. She said, "See you later, Jeff." He wasn't good enough for her. Jeff wanted
Then
her, and she always would tell. She just wanted him to burn in hell.
then everything went black.
This is literally Jeff and his unrequited love.
Then when I woke up, I was sitting in a hospital bed, bandaged from head to toe. Everything was spinning, and it hurt to blink and breathe. I looked around and I saw an empty room. I groaned loudly because my mouth was bandaged. Everything hurt. A nurse came in a few minutes later. Jane, can you hear me? I looked towards her. The room started spinning even more. Jane, I'm your nurse, Jackie. I don't know how to say this, but your family died in the fire. I'm sorry. Tears started falling down my face. I sobbed. No, honey, don't cry. You won't. You won't be able to breathe if you do. I couldn't stop. Jane, I'm going to give you something to help you calm down, alright? I felt something run into my bloodstream, then I fell asleep again. When I woke up, I could move more, and my body wasn't as bandaged as it was when I first woke up. I looked around and saw that my room had flowers in it. Some were fresh, some were dying. I tried to get up, but a nurse came in and put me back down. Easy, Jane. You've been asleep for a while. Try to take it easy. I tried to speak. My voice came out rough and sandpapery. How long? How, how long was I asleep? About 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks. You were put in a medically induced coma in order for your body to heal. In the same nurse you saw the first time. I am the same nurse you saw the first time you woke up. Give me a mirror, I said. Jane, I don't think that's what. Give me a mirror! I I I felt the handle of a mirror get slipped into my hand. When I looked into the mirror, I dropped it on the floor. The shattering of the mirror didn't compare to the shattering of my realization. My skin was leathery and brown. I didn't have a single hair in my head, and the skin around my eyes were saggy. I looked as I looked almost as bald as Jeff. Damn. Everything came
The thing
flooding.
is, though, Jeff isn't bald. He has long black hair.
Oh, no, not bald. Bad as Jeff. Sorry, that was my fault on that.
Oh, okay.
Oops. My bad. Everything came flooding back for me. I began to cry harder than I ever had before. The nurse was hugging me, but it didn't help much. At the height of my sobbing, I was surprised that nobody else came in to check up on me. By the time I was done, I could barely speak. Someone came into the doorway. Excuse me, I have a delivery from Miss Arkansas. I'll take those. Jackie stood up and went to the doorway. I didn't want the delivery guy to look at me, so I stared at the wall in front of me. Someone certainly cares about you, Jane, and it looks like the same person who sent you all those flowers got these flowers got you a package too. I looked around at her. She was holding a pink paper package tied with brown string. I reached out and took it from her. The second I took that package from her, I knew something was wrong. Excuse me, but could I have something to eat? I asked as sweetly as possible. Of course, I'll get you some food right away. Jane smiled back, then left the room. My hand shook as I grabbed the string and pulled it. The paper lightly bounced up, and I saw something that turned my blood to ice. It was a white mask with black around the eyes and a black feminine smile. It also had black lace covering the eye holes of the mask. Even though someone couldn't see my eyes,
Oh,
I
I just
could see
realized
them.
something.
What?
I just realized something about this. It says earlier in the story that Jane's skin after it was burned was brown, but I've actually never seen art of Jane the Killer where she's not just as pale as Jeff. I actually completely forgot that detail from this story. And most of the fandom did too.
Damn. I could see. So even like there was also a long black dress with a turtleneck, black gloves, and a black wig with beautiful curls. Along with all these things, there were a bouquet of black roses and a sharp kitchen knife. Attached to the mask, there was also a note. Jane, I'm so sorry I messed up with trying to make you beautiful. So I gave you a mask that will let you seem beautiful until you get better. Also, I forgot your knife. Also, you forgot your knife. I thought you would want it back. Jeff. By that time, Nurse Jackie came back. The present was hidden under my bed. I told her that all that was there was the flowers. She seemed to be disgusted by them, so she threw them out, and I thanked her for that. That night, when everything else was either asleep or gone home, I sneaked out. The only thing I had to wear was that dress. So I put it on and I found a pair of shoes outside in the hallway, forgotten by some careless nurse. I wore the wig to look less inconspicuous.
Conspicuous.
Inconspicuous. Yeah. I didn't know where I was going and I didn't care. I finally stopped walking. I was in front of a cemetery. I went inside and I found two tombstones, Isabel, Arkansas and Gregory, Arkansas. I sat down in front of their tombstones and cried once more. When I finally sat up, the sun was beginning to rise, and so was a new chapter in my life. I took the mask and put it on. Then I then picked up the knife and held it as tightly as I did before. Then I turned around and looked at the rising sun. On that day, I swore my revenge against Jeff, the killer, and donned my new name, Jane Everlasting. For I want the
But
only
I
thing
quickly
to be
changed it to
more
Jane,
everlasting
the
for
killer
Jeff.
for marketing purposes.
For I want the only thing to be more everlasting for Jeff than his madness to be his death. Ever since that day, I have been trying to find Jeff and kill him, hunting him, hunting him like the animal he is. I will find you, Jeff, and I will kill you. As for the photo that has been popping up of me saying, "Don't go to sleep. You won't wake up." That pretty much explains what I want to do with Jeff's victims. Prevent them from becoming victims in the first place. Whoever said that I kill them so they don't get killed by Jeff is a gross overstatement. So this is my story. Whether you accept it as a fact, as if you oh no. So this is my story. Whether you accept it as fact is not up for me to decide. So now, if you excuse me, the sun is going down and the hunt is beginning once more. So, Emily, thoughts?
That was the Jane the Killer story I remember. It had issues.
Obviously.
It had issues. And I think that's the longest story we've read, actually. Actually, how long have we been going for?
For about almost 2 hours. And plus, I don't think I could find the troll pasta story. You know the one.
Yeah, it's legit. But regardless of whether or not you can find it, the tunes will still breathe.
The tunes
Motherfucker.
will still breathe. Motherfuckers. Oh my god, yeah, that will never get old. Seriously. Let's see. It might.
What did you think of it?
It was. It was interesting. I never read the origin story of her, but God, if it wasn't for that bad continuity thing, then it would have been an alright creepypasta read, but
Somehow managed to mess up the continuity despite the majority of the story just being a retread of the Jeff story.
yeah, it wasn't that great at all. Let's see here. Was it this one? Yes, it was this one. Okay, I found it. I found it.
Okay.
Oh my God, I found it. That didn't take that long. But I found it. Okay, chat. All right, chat. If you're still here, then be prepared.
Be prepared.
For a good story. Nicktoons U. No, this story is old. Somebody make remastered and remake our. The story is old. Somebody make remastered and remake or versions in blog posts. Anyway, let me start this off by stating on what's about to become obvious. I am a massive fan of the Nicktoons. The channel was released in 2002. I watched every TV shows, even reruns and Nicktoons, and played through all the Nicktoons games, minus maybe one or two. Now, I won't go on some fanboyish tangent about how Nicktoons is my life and got merchandise and toys, but I love the network. I used to
But let me quickly pan over the camera to my Nicktoons DVDs, merchandise, and plushie dolls.
Yeah, in the comics line and Nick magazine that I have gotten every issue of.
Nerd.
Oh yeah, you remember when Nick magazine was a thing?
I never had Nick magazine, but I know what it is or what it was.
But anyway, I used to think that they couldn't even make a Nicktoons film, quote unquote. I wouldn't like. I was wrong. Now listen,
I
I'm
was
not made
wrong.
of.
They made the Fred trilogy.
Now listen, I'm not made of money, and I
Now
saw the
look here.
SpongeBob.
Look, listen.
Now listen.
Look
I'm
here.
not.
Look, listen. Appearing in the Krusty Krab does not frickin' stop it. So stop giving frickin' advice you know nothing about.
I'm not made of money. I saw the SpongeBob Nicktoons episode called Help Wanted and it was pretty good, and I wanted to see it again. But, well, like I said, not made of money, right? Well, I'm
But
not proud
have
of
no
it.
life.
Yeah, but I have no life. Well, I'm not proud of it, but I looked the cancel movie up on one of those streaming websites, and I found canceled movie of Nicktoons.
I
Nicktoons
looked it
U.
up on Tim Cartoon, like 90% of the internet.
That was it. I started it up and pressed play. The traditional opening bumper was something like this. I'm not going to click on the link. Nicktoons will be right back. Then the Nicktoons logo falls in the sky. Suddenly, the bumper wouldn't fucking stop, sounding like a whistle sound effect from Cartoony 1, but I was fucking real, and something screamed. As someone screamed, "Holy shit!" The video quality suddenly switched to the shittiest cam rip I had ever seen. What the fuck? Then a loud fucking fart was heard as the video panned down from Nicktoons Network headquarters into some guy's bathroom as he was taking a shit. It was some normal ass bathroom on Nicktoons headquarters, and also it's called Nicktoons. He flushed his shit down the toilet. Fucking green hand started reaching out of the toilet and started trying to pull the man into the toilet in as the Making Fiends theme song began to play so fucking loud that someone called...
Making fiends. Vendetta's always making fiends while Charlotte makes friends.
Began to play so fucking loud that someone called the fucking cops for noise disturbance.
Call the ducking police. Hashtag don't... Hashtag don't call anyone.
Fucking Vendetta from Making Fiends began to rise out of the toilet as she tried to yank the guy in, laughing hysterically and shooting fucking Panzer Fist 3 rockets everywhere. tearing up the walls and snorting out the power. And shorting out the power, I mean to say. He wasn't a fucking Nicktoons character, Vendetta screamed as the fucking cops started knocking on my door. The guy started screaming as Vendetta repeatedly tried to pull him down the toilet before eventually getting yanked in entirely as Vendetta crawled all the way out. Then the police kicked my fucking door down so fucking hard. I explained to the cops what happened, fixed up the door as best as I could, and went back to watching. We suddenly see that there wasn't supposed to be a flashback to an episode. We suddenly see what was supposed to be a flashback to the episode of SpongeBob cooking a Krabby Patties or something, but instead he sat down at a fucking Windows XP PC and opened some shitty Windows Movie Maker file named The Lost Episode of SpongeBob, as the video was literally just a slowly rotating picture of a fucking piece of paper that said, "The Toons still breathe." as Walk the Dinosaur played.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur.
Alright. On the floor. No, I can't really do it.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. I walk the dinosaur.
This caused SpongeBob to start fucking foaming at the mouth and vomiting in fucking Indian beef.
SpongeBob, control yourself.
Indian beef as dramatic fucking rock music played before he whipped a long fucking knife out of fucking nowhere and sliced the computer in half to some shitty heavy metal guitar riff. SpongeBob started screamed as if the voice actor was in like a fucking banshee, kicked the computer into the distance, causing the funning Wii Sports home run screen to appear. The screen cut to black as Mr. X's from the X's can be heard screaming, "This is a funning you." What the fun? Did Mr. X fucking swear? What the fuck? I can't believe Paramount would allow this to ever be made.
They need to put the X's onto Paramount Plus.
We suddenly see Patrick walking into a fucking McDonald's and asking the shadow reader, Patrick, do you have any Krabby Patties?
Wait, the shadow reader? Like the YouTuber?
Look, Patrick, we only have we only have Big Macs and other stuff. Krabby Patties.
Look, Patrick, we keep telling you that mayonnaise is not an instrument.
No, the shadow reader said. But you served any foods, said Patrick. The shadow reader suddenly lost his shit. Look, Patrick, I don't know what fucking disorder you got, but we don't take no fucking crabby ass cum shit patty. Now take that Now take that bubble gum Now take that bubblegum guy costume off and get the hell out of my restaurant. Patrick paused for a minute. Suddenly he started fucking using a chainsaw to murder all people in the restaurant. He murdered customers everywhere. He started spitting fucking Panzerfaust 3 rocket launcher rockets and pulling down the walls as he screamed, "The Toons still breathe!"
Breathe, mother truckers.
As the ice cream machine exploded everywhere. Making Fiends music bucking theme started playing again as little Rob.
Dada's always making fiends.
Making Fiends music was was still playing again as Little Rob and Lincoln Loud with brown skin and making me fucking vomited beef. And his glowing eyes and his fucking static smile on his face walked into the store and started destroying it further. The footage cut out abruptly and an image of Barack Obama wearing a SpongeBob costume suddenly appeared, accompanied to the shitty Krusty Krab font. It says the Black SpongeBob. What the fuck? Was this some kind of fucking political statement in a Nicktoons film? Then we cut to Stimpy, but he's so fucking terrible. He have freckles, and you guessed it, shitty blood. We see him trying going to bed, but Ren hits him so hard. "What the fuck, Stimpy?" he said. "I told you to take out the trash, not being a lazy idiot." When written saying to word "you" on it. Suddenly, walked in muttering. Stimpy walked in muttering, saying "fuck" over and over again under his breath. We see Blake from Get Blake burst from the fucking floor and saying, "Oh shit, oh yeah," he screamed out of the window as he threw up gang signs and started whooping. Suddenly some kid threw a fucking sword through his windshield and he flew out of control and crashed his car onto some nearby road right as the fucking truck was coming through. The Toons still breathe, motherfucker. Blake Woods fucking hollered as he picked up the entire truck with a gravity gun and threw it into a fucking Jack in the fucking Box. I really wish the Toons would cease to breathe. Why the fuck was so much of this movie filmed on headquarters anyway? I mean, I guess it actually was a novelty for HQ to appear in a Nicktoons film, but it was weird. We see Timmy Turner from the Fairly Odd Parents whipping his lightsabers toy, but it was actually fucking real. Viacom CBS doesn't own rights to Star Wars. And of course, And of course, he around like a fucking spaz and playing Just Dance. Suddenly, his eyes started fucking
Nerd.
glowing.
No offense to anyone who plays Just Dance. No offense.
He erupted. The CGI at this part was fucking horrible. It
It
looked
looks like
like
vampires.
it looked like someone threw fucking plastic Timmy Turner parts at the screen as he was supposed to fucking explode. We then cut to a real life video of Happy Holiday Show's man slapping his fucking anus with his paddle and he wears Santa hat. He had no clothes, shoes, or pants as Who Let the Dogs Out fucking playing so really loud. And the text and the text saying get fuck out and playing Fart Night in some shitty Comic Sans font. What the fuck, I suddenly screamed, causing my dog to leap off of my bed in terror and smack into my nightstand, fucking collapsing it in my fucking Nicktoons toys collection. Then we then see a fucking blue Zim. Still breathe, the tunes do, he said. Before whipping out a fuck. Still breathe, the tunes do, he said. I can't do Zim either.
No, it's doing
Before,
Yoda. That's Yoda speak.
I know that's Yoda speak, but we had to do it in Zim. Before whipping out a fucking inhaler and injecting a red knife blade from it. We could see Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron dancing Blues Clues Mail Time, but its lyrics was wrong. It's something like this. What the fuck is this? Let me get out. Fuck this mail. Then I'm gonna wail. It's so fucking loud. Seriously, what? We can see Snap from Chalk Zone, but it was from behind. He was on a spaceship, but it was incredibly dark. He had ejected that little chalk thing that he used to hold stuff. But I couldn't see what he was holding. Then I realized it was a fucking microphone. Suddenly, the lights came on and Snap whipped around with a fucking man's mouth and started fucking rapping, rocking side to side as he dropped the most intense bars I had ever heard in what sounded like the voice of Coochie's. After a moment, I realized the beat was a fucking rap remix of the Chalk Zone theme song. I screamed like a fucking banshee.
He's gonna give it to you. Wait, no, Chalk's gonna give it to you. Chalk's gonna give it to you. It gonna give it to you. Who's got the chalk? Where the chalk? Where the chalk? Where the chalk at?
Snap started to sticking his fucking tongue out of the mouth and laughing before I threw my fucking computer into a wall. To my horror, the film continued to play. We see Mikey from Kappa Mikey. I remember watching it from 2006, but then trying to jam his spoon down a fucking sink garbage disposal. Oh, son of a gun! Oh, son of a gun! Mikey yelled as the spoon refused to go all the way down the drain. Mikey started fucking banging on the hilt with his fists to try to force it down, which was really fucking loud. Durst started falling from the screen, and the camera would shake every time he did this. Motherfucker! He screamed like a fucking banshee as he finally smacked it all the way in. I had never heard Mikey curse before, and I never wanted to again. Ever. We suddenly see Gurr from Invader Zim making a stew. Oh shit, oh yeah, he screamed like a fucking banshee as he filled up his stew with like some shit. What the fuck are you doing, Gurr? Says. I am making a stew for the holidays, Zim, Gurr asked. Gurr, it wasn't Christmas! You lying! Then Blake Woods from Get Blake yet again bursted the fucking door and he says, the tunes still breathe! And of course my computer fucking exploded. And that was it. Amazing. 10 out of 10 would read again.
I personally think the tunes do indeed still breathe.
The tunes still breathe. Though. Now, chat, you now know where that came from.
You know the origin of the meme.
The tunes still breathe. The tunes still breathe. Oh my god. The tunes still breathe. Wait, where's this one, with Jeff the Killer and Mega Man?
Oh, I don't know. I'm actually gonna have to bounce. I'm actually gonna have to bounce here shortly. It's like 5:20 in the morning.
That's good enough. This is a short one. I guess I just found it. Jeff the Killer versus Mega Man. Once upon a time, Jeff the Killer was sitting alone on a beach eating a picnic lunch. He ate some bacon and drank a glass of cool, tall lemonade and began...
No, this story's so bit stupid. I remember this shit. Yeah, go. Okay, read it, then I gotta bounce off. Okay.
Jeff the Killer versus Mega Man. Once upon a time, Jeff the Killer was sitting alone on a beach eating a picnic lunch. He ate some bacon and drank a glass of cool, tall lemonade and began to smile. This was the life. He smiled. He took a break from killing because he thought about it and realized it was wrong. He tried sending quarters and pennies to the families of the people he killed on notes written in red ink. And they usually forgave him. It was like a huge hard-on. I mean, burden was lifted from his shoulders. Anyway, that was when Rock, the Mega Man, came across him and kicked sand into his picnic bacon lunch. If you are a cold dude like me, if you are a cold dude like me, you will fight me in the Mega Man beach surfing contest. Winner earns a 12-pack of Diet Coke with lemonade. Oh.
I was with you on the Diet Coke thing.
Earns a 12-pack of Diet Coke with limeade, I mean to say. And yes, at that point, Jeff was scared, but he picked up his surfboard and headed to the waters. He had gotten hit in the head with bleach before. He got hit in the head with bleach before and survived that, so this should be okay in comparison, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shouted the referee, a short German man with a mustache and a red cap with an M on it. He then bit into a peach. Definitely not in a bootleg Mario, but anyway. Jeff the Killer hit the waters and things were going cool. Until he turned around and got bitten by the smile dog. Gore flew everywhere while Jeff the Killer screamed in horror. I don't know, that was close, alright? Listen, if you're good, I'll buy you McDonald's, okay? Jeff bargained. Smile Dog whimpered and nodded his head and went away. Then Smile Dog sat in the water and licked himself like all doggies do, I guess. At this point, Mega Man was riding a tall wave, and he was rusted a little bit because he's a robot and the tide hit him, but it was okay. He accidentally hit the boy, and blood and gore fell out of his robot chest. Oh no! Command yelled. But I love the taste of Diet Dr. Coke with lime. That was when Mega Man had an ingenious idea. Dr. Light, calling in Dr. Light. Suddenly, a tall, elderly, naked man with sunglasses and a gigantic bleep rode his skateboard until the beach and then grabbed his surfboard. He threw the surfboard at the boy and it died. Hyper realistic gore flew
the
everywhere.
surfboard died?
Yes. At this point, Jeff the Killer had already won. The award ended up being RC Cola instead, so he killed the prize master. And since he returned to killing, he wrote letters to the families of people he killed demanding their money back. The end.
Heel. What an absolute heel.
But yeah, guys, for context, me and Emily here, I think about a couple nights ago, or
Like
maybe like a week ago now, we were reading a very famous troll pasta named titled "I Slightly Dislike You." And then after that, I found some silly troll pastas on the fandom wiki, and I immediately laughed on a few of these, and that's when I read a few of these to Emily, and we were like laughing our asses off on them.
It's true. It happened.
But these two stories were like the most funniest that we laughed at. There was one more, but I don't remember what it was. But I knew we read like, I think, almost 10 of them. And then I like read some of the names of some of these stories.
It's true.
Oh yeah, and then that was also the same day where Emily referenced that Bloom Creepypasta thing. It was also during that same day.
That frickin' story.
Oh my god. Bloom meets Slender Man, and Slender Man was being nice to her and all that. And invited her to the fucking Slender Mansion with all the other creepypasta dudes. So stupid. Especially by the way they were acting. Oh my god, that shit was garbo. That shit was garbo. Oh my god. And guys, no, I will not read that again because god, that shit was horrible. So if you guys are curious for context, you're not going to get any context. But yeah, that should space out the But yeah, that should space out the story we read earlier.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know how YouTube is going to turn with this. Hopefully not too bad.
So I had a lot of fun reading these here creepypasta stories throughout the month.
That is true.
Yeah, I hope those who watched, hope y'all were entertained, had a fun time.
Oh, especially with these last two stories. God.
And I'm looking forward to doing this next year with more stories.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and probably some point around November we'll read the troll pasta that we continuously were like keep referencing this entire all this time since it is not Halloween themed, but it is great. And hopefully we'll find the other one with I think it was My Little Troll Pasta with the freaking when it had Jeff the Killer. I think Jeff the Killer. I forgot who was even in it. I know Sonic.exe was in it. I forgot how that story went, to be honest, but I do know the title of it. And I don't even know if I can actually find it. Just like how I found I Slightly Dislike You earlier. Before we even go, I'll see if I can find that. And bookmark that. But yeah, I remember this shit. Oh damn, I don't. I don't think I can find it anymore other than a video. But I know that shit exists. And I knew I found it to read. Okay, this sounds promising. Someone found it. If it will load the page. Bruh. Oh, it might load. Yeah, let's go. Emily. Hello?
I was actually just about to send it to you. I managed to find it.
Oh, I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is from the web archive.
Yeah, that's what I found too.
Awesome. Awesome. That is really damn good. We found our two most referenced stories. Let's go. And we'll do them both in one night. I said we can do them both in one night.
Yep. Look forward to November.
Yeah, looking forward to November. Yes.
Tune in. Same Cartoon Riley time, same Cartoon Riley channel.
Yep. So tune in.
Featuring some vampire bitch.
But anyway. Now, one more thing. I apologize for you guys for not streaming Luigi's Mansion. What I said I was going to do later yesterday. But I didn't. But I overslept, and I from all the stuff that had happened yesterday. I mean, it was a very good time yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a fun time yesterday, but that was the reason why I didn't stream Luigi's Mansion. But I will later today, just to celebrate Halloween. And you know what, guys? Instead of Alone in the Dark reboot, I got something even better.
But Alone in the Dark is moved to next week, right?
Yep, it's going to be moved to it's going to be moved to next week, because instead I feel bad for not playing any Castlevania game this month, which I should have. But that's okay. That's all about to change later today, because what Emily did for me, she got me Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
I did that, it's true.
So, guess who's going to be playing Lords of Shadow 2 who's going to be playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 for Shit Game Sundays? So we're going to do Luigi's Mansion and Castlevania all in the same day. Let's go. So tune in like later today for Luigi's Mansion and Lords of Shadow 2. And I hope you guys have a very good Halloween. Have a nice Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Eat a bunch of candy and dress up in nice costumes. Have fun.
Yep. And I wish I can. Do that. Though. But every Halloween
watch a horror movie. Don't be a loser. Doesn't watch a horror movie on Halloween.
Well, that's alright. I get to play a horror themed game. Well, not really a horror themed game, but it's up to that.
No offense. I merely jest and make jokes.
I know you are making a joke, but ooh. But I'm glad we had a little fun there with that, so anyway, so again later today we'll do Luigi's Mansion, start off with Luigi's Mansion, and then start off with Lords of Shadow 2, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, I don't even know if I will continue it, but at least it will be there just to at least show some Halloween shit game Sunday spirit. So, I mean, it was originally planned for Alone in the Dark reboot, but that would have to move to like next week. So, other than that, but the rule of Alone in the Dark reboot still stands. If it keeps crashing, then then I will then I have a backup plan to play Resident Evil Survivor. So that might be, I don't know, a double feature. I don't know. I couldn't get Sonic Chronicles to Dark Brotherhood to work, so.
Do it.
So yeah, in case that doesn't work, I have a backup plan. So, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed this final Creepypasta reading with Emily Alucard here. And hope you all have a good rest of your night and have a good morning.
Unpleasant dreams. And happy Halloweens.
And happy Halloween. This is CartoonRiley56 signing off.
And Emily Alucard.